Hey everyone. Hey everyone, Sophia-Helene makes a treat, and this is Burning Questions. Welcome to my home. The analytics are screwed up, and I don't think they're ever going to come back. So we've had fun this season, I think. You know, the story was told in an almost entirely one-woman show format, and I answered a lot of questions that ranged from insightful to ballsy, and I think we as a community have gelled over the course of this entire thing. But if the comments are anything to go by anyway. But I think we should talk about what's been going on in the season. It is incredibly stupid that I even have to say it. Yeah. Cooking with Sophia, episode 1. This is not that. I haven't eaten anything all day, and so being that I'm going on hiatus as soon as I finish here, I am making pancakes. It's a celebration, and unfortunately, my roommate is gluten intolerant, and so the only thing that we really have available for most baking products is gluten-free. And it's not my thing, but whatever. So we'll do that. That's the whole thing. It's the whole package. Yeah, just need the whole package in there. So it's only a cup and a half anyway. Anyway, that's done with that. Anyway, like I said, it's stupid that I even have to say it, but what I've been doing this entire season has been an act. I do not condone any of the actions taken by my character, the Marquess, during the entire season. Most of them were either illegal, unethical, or immoral. And honestly, it was almost entirely unacceptable. So let's recap the Marquess's many, many sins for the season. After being drugged by a production assistant over the affections of a woman, I drove under the influence of a hallucinogenic substance to a Chipotle, which then burned down, and I was framed for having done that in a way, or in order to get me out of the way, so that my PA, Morseth, could pursue the lady that I was seeing. I went to gay prison, I wore a completely inappropriate suit to court. I went to gay prison, which was on an island. I shipped a guy and escaped via his corpse. And yeah, well, that's coming up. So when I got back, I found a treasure that did not belong to me, claimed it, and used that treasure to insinuate myself amongst my enemies. And so after having done that, I convinced one of my enemies' wives to poison him such that he shat himself in public. I convinced one of my enemies' lesbian daughter to abandon her family, move overseas without telling them anything, and then sold them a house, which I promptly burned down before the insurance kicked in. And then I pretended to be straight to insinuate myself among Morseth's family. I manipulated the affections of a young, very young, inappropriately young man, 21, before you ask. I'm 34, so that's not great. In order to get close enough so that I could shame the family into exile, and then at his lowest point, I left my PA with a suicide weapon. So none of that is really, really cool. I promise this is not a recipe. I have a checklist for this show that I need to stick to. So obviously, I don't endorse any of that stuff. I did it specifically to tell a story. What story? Well, we're going to talk about that, but first I want to answer a few questions. Yeah, well, the suicide thing too, yeah, but pretending to be straight was very hard. Like, I don't know how straight people act. Like, I know 2 straight people and they're weird. I don't get it. So like, that was the hard part for me. But anyway, I have a couple of questions that I've been asked that I will answer, and then we'll close out, and I'll tell you what it is exactly that I've been doing. So obviously, since this is live, I don't have the ability to do the thing that I normally do with the title cards. So like, here's the question. How did you fix your hair to look so naturally full of volume? / a related viewer question. What tips do you have for thin or thinning hair? You guys came for me where I live. Okay, so the question about my thick, voluminous hair obviously comes from Cora and not somebody who watches this show. And the viewer question comes from Scarlett DeLeon. So like, when I read this question on Quora, I'll be honest with you, I nearly spat apple cider across the room. So the Joker who asked me that clearly is not a fan of the show. So my profile picture on Quora, it was taken at a time when I was newly out, we'll say, and I'm about ready to start cooking these pancakes. So I'll shift over here. Yep, that should be fine. Yes. Okay, so I was newly out and I was in the military, so it's not like I could have really even been out at all. So what you saw there was actually a wig. So that's how my hair was so thick and lustrous and voluminous. As to Scarlett's question, I use a lot of volumizing shampoos, and as we all know, my hair is thin and has an unfortunate tendency to rope, and it's basically its own character in the show at this point. Now let me adjust the screen a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's basically its own character in the show. So yeah, thick and lustrous and easily managed, it is not. I don't know where anybody got that notion, but it is wrong. My hair is a gigantic pain in the ass, but I also recommend finasteride. That helps. I will say though, the problem with finasteride, if you donate blood plasma, you won't be able to do that anymore on finasteride. They won't let you because it causes some birth defects in pregnant women, and the causative agent for that is transmitted through blood plasma. So if you're like me and have explored the idea of selling plasma, you won't be able to do it if you're taking finasteride, but it does stem the tide of the male pattern baldness. But like I said, I also use a lot of volumizing shampoos, one of which claims to have bamboo fibers in it, and that stuff works. And I got that at Walgreens. Okay, so yeah, that's really the that's really as much as I could say for that part. Okay, so second question: how is my family situation complicated? So some context for my non-Quora peeps here. One of my credentials on Quora is that my family situation is ... It's called an ellipsis, I know. Complicated. And so this is that. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have a huge extended family, and my huge extended family universally does not talk to me. Half of them don't know I'm trans. The other half know and pretend I'm not. And they prefer, since I'm like all the way out permanently forever, they're not in a hurry to talk to me. Do not have a ladle. Of course, we don't have a ladle, so that sucks. Yeah, so what we end up with there is a situation where, oh yeah, my brother. Okay, so I have 3 brothers and a sister. My sister, she's cool with me, and I've actually stayed over at her house, but on a good day, she is laconic. So it's not like I get to talk to her very much, or rather, it's not like I do talk to her very much. I have the ability to do so whenever I need, but we don't really talk very much. The one I was closest with before I came out doesn't talk to me at all anymore. And if he does, he's like, "Hey, dude, come on, man. You know how I feel about that." He does. He just doesn't care. The next oldest brother is supportive in theory, but I get the feeling that he's actually going to try to talk me into reparative therapy, which no. And then we have my youngest brother, and oddly enough, I expected my coming out to my youngest brother to go the worst, and as it turns out, that actually was the best experience I've had in my family, with the exception of my sister. And honestly, I expected my sister to be fine anyway, so it was, better with my youngest brother because it was a surprise. Anyway, he's having a kid soon, and I decided it was as good a time as any to tell him because I wanted to be part of my nephew's life, and he is, as far as I can tell, cool with that. So yeah, I have cousins that have completely disregarded me. They used words like race pimp. I have cousins who have unfriended me on Twitter because they voted for Trump, or unfriended me on Facebook because they voted for Trump. And I am a whinging lefty. And so, yeah, it's not great, you guys. My family situation is complicated because there are a lot of factors to it, and they're almost all negative. Okay, so last question of the season. It's from the audience. What softball position do you play? Okay, so this question comes from the incomparable Riley Dosh. Joke's on you, Riley. The original question was, if you were on a softball team, what position would you play and why? Well, joke's on you, Riley. I used to play softball. And so the answer is right field. And the reason that I played right field is because I sucked so bad. It was the only place they could put me where I wouldn't do more harm than good. So yeah, that's the answer. Yeah, I always wanted to play shortstop though. There's more drama, there's more action. Don't just sit there waiting for somebody to hit the ball at an improbable angle. I mean, right field was boring as hell. I mean, I kind of hate softball now because of it. There's a really good pitcher or catcher joke in there, and I'm too classy. Okay, so those are the questions, and now a wrap up. So, let's talk about the story I was telling over the season. I left some hints interspersed throughout that would have told you everything you need to know to guess what story I was telling if you had read the story. And some of them were extremely specific, and then as the season dragged on, I kind of got less specific with them. So let me go over some of those hints. The first hint is my use of the Catalan language. I do speak a little bit of Catalan, but I really had to drill down on it for this, specifically because the main love interest in this story is referred in the book is referred to as the Catalan, or the Catalan woman, because she's from Catalonia, and her name is Mercedes. Okay, so there's a character that I referenced a couple of times called Peri Orange, and that is from the Greek prefix for near and the French county of Orange. And so the character in the book was actually named Caderousse, which is actually a town near the county of Orange in France. So that's that. So fancy parties. In the source material, the main character insinuates himself into his enemies' social circle by the use of lots of fancy parties and lavish spending. Obviously, I don't really have the budget to make that happen, so I had to fake it. And the way I did that was through, a couple of fake-ass fancy parties. And then, lastly, the title. And I really thought I was going to give it away with the title. The second Marquess de Croque-Monsieur. Okay, so a croque-monsieur is a type of sandwich. It's the French name for a type of sandwich anyway. And what kind of sandwich is it? A Monte Cristo. That's right. We've been doing the Count of Monte Cristo this entire season. Fun fact, though, it didn't start off that way. I had no intention when I started the season of there being a literary theme. It just kind of happened, and it actually happened after the third episode, where there was like the zombie apocalypse thing, and I went on a date afterwards. I really got the idea because my PA was, telling me, don't go. And the assumption is that there was a zombie apocalypse outside, so you should probably not go out of fear for your moral safety. But I tried to play it, and I didn't communicate this part very well. I tried to play it such that it turns out that he was telling me not to go because he was interested in Mercedes. So like I said, yeah, I didn't really communicate that as well as I should have. But notes for next season. Yeah, so after that, I was struggling. I was having trouble deciding how I was going to progress the story, what I was going to do with it. So as I was on a walk with my roommate, it occurred to me that this was, she made a comment about a book, and I don't know why, but it struck me that the Count of Monte Cristo, it fit, like the inciting incident was essentially what I'd just done. So I decided to do that. That's really where the idea came from. I had no plan. I basically thought up. I didn't have I didn't divide the story beforehand. I actually did that per episode, and I'm going to get better at that. By the way, by the time next season rolls around, I will have an actual plan before I start shooting. So it won't be as confusing, and I'll be able to work in more of these sort of references. So yeah, we've been doing the Count of Monte Cristo this whole season. Who knew, right? But yeah, so that's more stuff. My PA's name, that was the name of the antagonist one of the antagonists. Who uses plants? Certainly not the U.S. government. Oh, gosh. Oh, you. Yeah, well, I used to work for those clowns, so I can vouch for that. No, they do very much. Too much, you might say. Oh, come on, don't stick, don't stick. Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. So yeah. So I've already I've got a short list of themes for next season, and I haven't decided yet, but I need to hustle because the hiatus starts. Like I have 2 months to read the source material, break out the source material, like the entire plot into 16 episode chunks, and also I have other stuff that I have to do during this hiatus. So like I got a boogie and figure that out. I'll probably have it figured out by the end of today. Anyway, so what I want to do with next season, I just want to talk briefly about that. Next season, I am going to offer a prize. It'll probably be like a T-shirt, because we're going to have T-shirts by next season, hopefully. To the first person who can correctly guess the theme. I didn't want to do it this time because it seemed like it was A, I didn't have anything to give, and B, it seemed like it was unfair because you didn't really know the direction we were going with this. I could have been referencing literally anything, but now you know. And so next season we're gonna have a small prize for whoever can guess the theme first. And so the way you'll be able to do that, don't do it in the comments. You don't want to ruin it for everybody else. Do it on our Facebook page, which I'll put the link for that and my Patreon in the description. Follow the Facebook page, you guys. Seriously, like over this hiatus, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff via Facebook. We'll do a weekly live stream, and I'm going to try to have a new something going by the time Burning Questions Season 2 comes around, and that'll be December 17th, by the way. 8 weeks from today. Yeah, so that's really all I have for you guys. I want to thank all of my patrons on Patreon, especially my top patrons are Riley Dosh. They have plans that nobody reads after the work is done. Oh yeah, I assume you're talking about the government there. Yeah, pretty much. If I had $1 for every like plan that I've actually read that they've written when I worked for the military, that just like nobody knew where to find it. I accidentally stumbled upon it, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, so my top patrons are Riley Dosh, Scarlett DeLeon, Lily Patterson, Tessa Norris, Tara Nitka, and there are a couple more. But definitely, you guys could always use more patronage if you're feeling so moved. I'll leave the link in the description. If you guys like what you saw this season, or if you want to. If you want to move in a different direction, I'm willing to take. Patrons. The way I see it, patrons own the show. Patrons, because you're paying to make it a thing. Yeah, this is your show. I just happen to be the chucklehead who's on the camera. So you guys pop over to my Patreon, and I'm open to criticism and preferably constructive, and let me know what you think. Let me know how I can make this better. Let me know how I can make it what you want it to be. And definitely join the Facebook group, guys. I'm doing so much on Facebook over this hiatus. Okay. I think that's all I have for you guys. I've been working on the website, so that should be coming up here not too terribly long. And really, I want to take a minute to thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being there through this entire thing. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy next season too. All right. I love you guys. Bye. What? How are things on the job front? Before you run off and devour those poor instant pancakes. Okay, the job front. Today, I have been. So okay, I applied for several different jobs across several different industries, and actually, fun fact, I recently submitted a portfolio to a modeling agency in the local area. So I look forward to never hearing back about that. But I've applied for several different jobs across several different industries, and it's not going anywhere. So I think probably what's going to end up happening is it's going to be, this is my profession, at least for the foreseeable future. So not great, not great. I've had 2 interviews, I think, in the last couple of months, and I'm fairly certain, I mean, they didn't go anywhere. I auditioned for a play. There's actually an audition tonight, but there is a possibility that I may be in consideration for a job in DC, and I really, really hope that's true, because my girlfriend lives in DC, and I would love to be close to her for once. So, yeah, I'm really, really, really excited about the potential for a job in DC. So there's actually an audition for a play local area tonight that I don't think I'll be going to, just because if I got the DC job, I would have to back out of the play, and that's just kind of a crappy thing to do. But yeah, so that's really where we are with the job front. This is my profession. Awoo, awoo, awoo. You guys got anything else? Oh, thanks. Yuha, right? Is that how you pronounce that? Yuha? Thanks, though. Good luck with the DC job is what Yuha said. I appreciate that, and I really hope it works out for me. Okay. Oh, good. I got it right. Ha. Is that Finnish? Is that a Finnish name, Yuha? But yeah, I'm hoping it works out, but I'm not holding my breath. So thank you for saying that. Check that out. Yeah, I speak a bunch of Scandinavian languages. I tried my hand at Finnish, but like, obviously that didn't work out. Like, how many? Okay, so as a person with a Finnish name, I assume you probably live in or around Finland. How many non-native proficient Finnish speakers do you know? My guess is the answer is almost none. The stereotype about the Finnish language is that, like, if you weren't born speaking it, don't bother, because you're not going to get it right. It's just easier to communicate in English or, Swedish or whatever the lingua. Yeah, see, very few, very. Like, it's not linguistically related to any of the languages of the surrounding area. I think it's related to Hungarian. I think that's probably the closest relative to Finnish, linguistically speaking. And Hungary is freaking nowhere near Finland. So yeah, it's really a weird language. It's kind of like how Basque is absolutely nothing like any Romance language, and it's stuck like right in the middle of Romance languages. So yeah, no, I English mostly. Finno-Ugric, that's right. After Estonia, Hungarian. Okay, yeah, I knew the Estonian connection was pretty close. I had forgotten about it though, so thank you for mentioning it. Yeah, Estonian. That's That's also a fun language. It's so weird to me. It just sounds like whenever I hear Finnish or Estonian or even Hungarian, I think of like a room full of bouncy balls, and I'm not exactly sure why. Or maybe uh, like trying to stand on a floor composed entirely of bouncy balls, like that whole that kind of thing. Like it seems like one of those. It's a language with a weird flow for me anyway. So yeah, I tried for a minute. I don't bother now. Oh God, I think that's okay. That this is essentially, yeah, done. Good, 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 good. So yeah, job front. Yeah, look at that stack. The job front is not so well going. Thank you though for the well wishes, and here's hoping. Anyway, I don't think I have anything else for you guys. Thanks a bunch for stopping in. I love you. Bye.